For years, we were known as Central Veterinary Associates, and we know that some of you were not exactly thrilled with the services that were provided.
But a new day has arrived. We're changing and will now be known as Premier Veterinary Medical Group.
But it's much more than a name change. It's a new management team, a new attitude, with a new state-of-the-art modern facility in Rockville Center, New York.
We're going all out to provide the best possible care for your pets. And that includes 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week emergency care from a team of highly trained professional emergency care veterinarians.
So check out the all-new Premier Veterinary Medical Group. We're ready to serve Nassau and Queens counties with compassion, commitment, and the utmost confidence.
And we have immediate openings for overnight emergency vets with great pay and outstanding benefits. Contact us today at premierveterinarymedicalgroup.com/careers.
This guy, DDP, the man, the myth, the legend. Jimmy, are you excited for this one?
I'm sweating, and I got goosebumps, so I think I'm in mode.
Okay, that's fantastic. You know what sucks? My mic is off and my headset's off, and I see you two rapping. I'm like, what are these guys talking about? What are they talking about over there?
Well, that's for us to know and you to never know.
Wow, that's just not fair.
I know, I'm rough. No, it was actually some talk about the NWA and how Flair just ate up that traveling schedule. He loved doing that stuff. That's why Flair became who Flair became, because he just loved the duties that came with being an NWA champion and all the touring and everything. He just ate that stuff up. So that's basically what we were talking about.
Well, Diamond, Dallas Page, thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule. You are truly an icon, and thank you for coming on Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast.
Oh, good to be here, bro. Good to be here. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Nate. We had our ups and downs, but overall, big fan. When you put, this is me and Jimmy were talking before we came up, talking about he brought up Tommy Rich first and asked Tommy why he only had the title for 5 days, and he said, because I like to stay home in Atlanta.
Yeah, right.
And, if you had that big goal back then, man, you were the world champion because you were all over the world. And Nate, I mean, he was born to do that, man. He was born to be the Nature Boy.
Diamond, what did you think, since we're on Flair real quick, what did you think when you saw Flair's last match? Were you shaking your head like, Rick, come on, man, stop? Because that's what I was thinking. But, I know it's hard to throw him under the bus, but did you have some reservations about, like, should Rick just stop already? I mean...
I think a lot of I was there, and I think a lot of people really want to see it, whether it's, no matter what. I mean, I was there. The people, they loved him, and It didn't really matter what he did or didn't do at the time. And, it was a really intense schedule he had too, leading right up to that and all the, from the roasting to the, to all the autograph signings and stuff. So, but he did it because he loves to do it, man. And that will be the last time I think you actually will see him do it. And I'm just happy that he's in a good place right now, So, I think fans really wanted to see that one. And they really, think of John Cena, he's just put out the word he's going to do one last tour. If we're gonna, and what a great way to go, because so many of the guys just disappear. Like, what happened to them? Well, they got hurt, that's what happened, and then they weren't seen in that spot or given that opportunity. Like, a Rock, a Cena, a Flair, they get to have, that moment. Shawn Michaels, had that moment. And really, any of those guys who get to that top level, I would have loved to have gone. I mean, that's why I went back and did TNA, because the WWE, when I went there at that time, that was not a good, there was a point to be proven, and they were going to beat down whoever the WWE, WCW guy was. It wouldn't have mattered if it was me or, Sting or whoever that one guy, that first guy to come in. And I didn't really think about it like that when until I got there. Then I realized, I was on Stone Cold's podcast, like right when he got towards the end of it, and I did so many of them because we're friends. But when they built them the actual set and everything out of his place in Nevada, right? These are outside of Reno. He asked me, he goes, "Did you realize how much heat WCW had coming in?" And I was like, "No, I did not." I knew when I got there, though. And
There you go.
and then I understood, like, okay, you can't take this personal. And what really comes down to is that for me personally, I knew I was a Hall of Famer. And I knew if I would have, bitched and complained like so many of the boys have done, not naming any names, but that's not who I am. And the really important thing that I learned, like I always say, okay, what did you learn from that? And what I learned from that made me the businessman that I am today. Like I had something they really wanted. I was seen as the face of WCW. Of course, Sting was the franchise. Goldberg was the phenom. But I was the guy who came from nothing.
Right.
And built myself up to be one of the best in the friggin' world at what we do. And I never went to NWO. I never had any moment where I wasn't WCW. And that was very valuable. And I undervalued that to myself, mainly because, when I left there, WCW, like everybody, well, they still were paying us. And they would have paid me for a year and a half. They owed me like, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, 1.7 million, something like that. And I left, maybe it was 1.6, but whatever the hell it was. All I can tell you is I left $487,000 on the table because I was 45 and a half at the time. How much longer could I go at that run? My body was beat up. Even though DDP Yoga was keeping me going, I always thought about where am I going to be at 58 and 68 and 78, 88? I always thought about that shit, So when I came in there and it didn't work the way I wanted to, I had to ask myself, okay, what did you learn from that? And what I learned from that was that when you really value yourself and your product, your brand has value at a different level, you can't be afraid to walk away from the table. Because when Shane and Vince said to me, here's what we want for you. And we want you to be the stalker and want you to stalk Undertaker's wife. And my first ex-wife, Kimberly, is sitting right next to me, right across from Vince. Now, if you knew how hard I had to fight for everything I got in WCW, when I say, if I was being me right then, like 100% me, I would have said, Vince, are you fucking kidding me? Are you looking at my wife? Like, right. You want me to stalk some other guy's wife when I have the most beautiful woman, on the planet? Yeah. Like that's what I would have said. And because I didn't think there was any heat coming in, I didn't see it. Why would I have heat?
Right.
No, because I was WCW, and we almost put them out of business.
Well, Dallas,
we were this close.
That's what I